Welcome to Say It with Roz. Today, I want to talk about voting. Yes, voting. Now, the first thing I want to say is, don't listen to anyone that tells you not to vote, okay? They do not have your best interest at heart. They don't. I don't care what they're saying, what reasons they're giving you. If they're telling you to do nothing, then they are not worth listening to, okay? And sometimes all of the time, you must ask yourself, what's the motive behind this, I saw it happen in 2016 where people were influenced not to vote. They were convinced not to vote because of someone bringing up, some things from the past about a candidate, making the person completely blind to the fact that someone 100 times worse might get into office because they didn't vote. Don't ever do that. No. If they're telling you to vote for someone, then okay, you've just got to decide if the reasons that they're giving you to vote for that person are valid or not. That's all the time. You really and truly should do your own research. Just don't make any decisions based on anything that anyone else says, even me. I mean, investigate what I'm saying. You don't have to take anyone's word for anything. Anybody can say anything. That doesn't make it true, okay? So I just want to say that first. I recommend not listening to anyone that tells you not to vote at all, to just sit at home on voting day. No, because what you're doing is you're letting others decide your fate. You're not even taking part in, what happens to you. So, okay. But voting is really, in my opinion, this is my opinion, the most powerful tool that you have to fight against injustice in this country. Having a vote, having the right to vote. When you don't vote or you don't pay attention to who you're voting for, you could get anybody in office. You don't want the wrong people in the right places in office because they can change everything, and it doesn't necessarily have to be for the better. You should have an idea of what I'm talking about just based on some of the things that are going on right around us right now in this country, regarding voting rights, So, how is it happening? It's happening because those people that are changing the laws, that are changing the rules, were voted in. They were voted into office. Now, either they were just overwhelmingly, favored, by both sides, or someone probably didn't do their duty, whether it was due diligence in knowing who the heck they were voting for, in the first place, which takes a little work, you know, to know who you're voting for. Take, for instance, we're having an election here in Texas, where I live, on November the 2nd, you know. So, and they've got, let's see, I think they have 8 propositions, you know, on the ballot, you know, and a couple of other things. So now, how would I know? First of all, I've got to go vote, okay? And how can I go and make an intelligent vote if I don't read what these propositions are and understand what they are? So you've got to do the work. You have to know what you're voting for. You can't just go in and go eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Okay, yeah, and you know, and you're not really understanding. You might vote into law something that is really not in your best interest. So you've got to do the work, people. I am serious about this. You have to vote in every election. Every election that you are eligible to vote in, you must vote. Otherwise, you are throwing away your right to say anything about anything, okay? You've got to know, first of all, you've got to know when these elections happen. So that means you've got to stay up to date, you know, know where to go to find out this information. It's different for each state, you know, each county. You know, you've got to bookmark these websites and know where to go, where to look, okay? So, and then, okay, like I was saying, you got to know what you're voting for. I have printed out these propositions. I have to read all of this and understand it. And then I've got to make a decision. Okay, do I want to vote yes or no on this one? You know, and I do that for each one. But I understand what I'm voting for, okay? And I have this as a record. I take it with me to the poll so I can see what I've chosen, you know. I don't have to think about it when I get there, you know. So, and they give a lot of detail, you know, on these propositions, you know. So I've printed out all of this stuff for each one of them, and I'm going to read it, you know. And this is I do the same thing for individual candidates, you know. I print off whatever information I can find, or if I want to read it online, you know, I don't necessarily print off all of that information, but however you want to do it. But you've got to read up on these candidates. You have to know who you're voting for. And this is especially good to do in the primaries, because you're picking the client, you know, the candidate that's going to be in the general election, you know, up against the other party. So I do the same thing for the primaries, you know. I look at all of the candidates. I read about as much as I can find about them. And then I make my own determination as to which one sounds, because I don't know these people personally. I have to read what I can find on them, and then I have to make a determination of who I think is best, you know, to fill that position. But you got to do it. You got to do it. And you got to do it for every election. Your local elections control more, most of the time, than the federal elections does. Look what these look what these governors are doing in some of these states, you know. That's a state election, you know. Some people only want to vote in the presidential election, which is madness, you know. You need to vote in every election, period. That's it, you know. But you just got to come to your own conclusions. You can't be listening to Tom, Dick, and Harry, Mary, Jane, and Sue. You know, no. Let them make their own decisions, but you make your own decision as well. Do some research, you know, and you don't even have to tell people what you know. Nobody knows who you vote for except you when you go into that voting booth, okay? You can, hey, you don't have to say nothing about who you're voting for. Come to your own conclusions and follow your own logic, okay? Your own spirit about things. Because all of this, even these news commentators, you know, you need to take all of that with a grain of salt. Because some of these stations, you know, have some political motives, you know. And anyway, they all do. So anyway, you gotta do your own research. That's the bottom line. You can't believe nothing that nobody says these days, okay? Not even me. Do your own research. You know, I'm not even gonna tell you who I'm voting for. Anyway, so anyway, I just wanted to point out that it's very, very, very important that you vote. And any voting, any elections between now and the next presidential election in 2024 are very, very, very highly, highly important. And you need to be on top of your game and get out and vote. And no matter what obstacles that someone tries to put, you know, in front of you to discourage you from voting, you can't play into that. You just can't. You just, no matter what it is, you know, you gotta have a certain kind of ID. You get that kind of ID. Start working on it now. You know, don't wait until it's almost voting time, you know, and then you want to try to, you know, say, you know, and then you want to complain about, you know, all the rules and everything. Make sure that you can meet the rules, okay? And first of all, know the rules, because some things may have changed, you know. I know here where I am, you know, people can't even give people a ride to the polls, you know, unless they're living in their household. You know, you can't give a friend a ride to the polls without filling out some form. It's really kind of crazy. But anyway, you just cannot let any of that keep you from voting. You must vote in every election, no matter what. And like I said before, anyone that tells you that you should not vote, don't listen to that person. You decide on your own, from your own research, your own thinking, whether you should vote or not. Because I just don't believe anyone that tells you to sit home on voting day and do nothing has your best interest. They might have the other side's interest, you know, at heart. You never know, especially with things that you read online. You know, these people are very clever, you know. They say things that make people angry, you know, make people doubt, you know, and eventually what they do is turn that person against voting at all, or voting for someone that they shouldn't vote for. You just can't listen to any of that. Don't listen to any of that. Anyone that's trying to make you hate a candidate, or turn you against your party, you don't need to listen to them. You need to just look around, use your own experience as a guide, do some research, and don't just use one source for your research. You can listen to a whole range of things, and then you determine. But some things you don't even need to do all of that. Some things you should just know. But anyway, don't throw away your right to vote because of what someone says. And this is for everyone. It doesn't matter what color you are or what side you're on. I'm talking to everyone, You need to vote, okay? And specifically for Black people to not vote is really, to me, like a slap in the face, of those who came before us and went through quite a few things just for us to vote. And then if we just turn our noses up and decide we're not going to vote for whatever reason, I just don't know what to say. I know some of the people that, gave their lives for us to have that right would be very disappointed, I would think, because even if you don't want your normal, okay, just say you're a Democrat and someone comes along and just trashes the Democrats and give you all kinds of reasons, why you shouldn't support that party, you shouldn't vote at all, don't vote for them. They're not telling you to go vote for anyone else. They're just saying don't vote for them. You shouldn't vote at all. That, to me, for you to even consider what they're saying, just from them saying it, that's pretty weak in my mind, because like I said, you can't really listen to or make any, you can listen, but you can't make your decisions based on someone else's decisions. You need to come to your own determinations about things, because in essence, if you don't vote for your party, you're in essence voting for the other party. You might as well go over there and cast a vote for them, So, and I regardless of whether, whether there are some undesirable things about your party, that you've chosen to be a part of, that's still not a reason to just abandon your party. You still need to, and you need to consider that if you don't vote, you are, in actuality, voting for the other side. And what you need to ask yourself is it better for the other side to win? Is it better? Now, if you think it's better, so be it, because that's what you're actually making happen. So, but if you don't, but you need to know what the other side represents also. That's why I'm saying you got to do research. If you're not happy with this side, you shouldn't just go and vote for the other side or not vote at all. You need to do some research to see which side is really the best side. You know? Otherwise, you're just letting other people decide your fate without you having any say-so at all. But anyway, I know too, a lot of people complain about, you know, judges and policemen, you know, and mayors and governors. They do a lot of complaining, you know, when things are not going the way they want them to go. But who's in control of all of that? The voter. The voter is in control of all of that. How does a governor or mayor or judge, you know, a lot of judges, some judges are appointed, like, you know, the Supreme Court judges are appointed by the U.S. president. But a lot of these local and state judges, you know, are voted in. And the governor is voted in. The mayor is voted in. And the mayor, when you vote in a mayor, the mayor has control. The mayor and the city council have control over the police chief. They appoint a police chief. And that police chief hires policemen. Okay? So if you've got a corrupt mayor who's going to appoint a corrupt police chief who's going to hire corrupt police officers, then what have you got? Okay? But the mayor was voted in. He was voted in. You should have researched. You should have known who you were voting in or not voting in. Okay? So, like I say, for you to even have a chance of, you know, getting good people in office, you have to do some research. You have to know who's running for office and which one is the best one. Whether it's whatever side they're on. You gotta know, you gotta know, you got to know. So, don't give up your right to vote. Don't listen to anybody that tells you to do so. And I'm going to be coming at you again on this voting thing because it's very important. And if you've been keeping up with anything in the last few years, you should know you need to vote, baby. And you need to do some serious voting. You need to know who you're voting. First, you need to know, you need to ask yourself, what kind of society do you want to live in? What kind of town? What kind of county? What kind of state? You know, what kind of country do you want to live in? And then you vote in the type of people that will make those things happen. I don't know what everybody wants, you know, but like I said, it doesn't matter what side you're on. You should vote. If everybody voted, we'd have a true and knew who they were voting for. We'd have a really true picture of what we got here. Of who's who. Now, wouldn't we? Anyway, like I said, I'm going to be coming at you again, talking about voting. And hopefully I can give you some facts and things to help you make some decisions. But don't base your decisions on what I say. Fact check everything and then come to your own conclusions. Nobody knows really what you want but you. All right. So until next time, over and out.